Hi, welcome to this talk time. I'm Meredith McCarthy. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist based in Wellington, New Zealand, and I'm passionate about all sorts of things to do with hypnotherapy. So today I thought we'd dive into a topic that touches so many people, and that's anxiety, dealing with that mind monster. So whether it's sort of a constant overthinking or a racing heart or a feeling of unease that never quite goes away, you're not alone. And more importantly, there's something you can do about it. So let's explore this. I hope you enjoy today's one. In this episode, I'm going to share some powerful strategies that you can begin to use today to reduce anxiety, some tools that I use with my clients and my students, and often for myself as well. We're all going through life, and there's going to be moments where we get triggered and we feel anxious. So let's talk about some key ideas and understandings. So let's look at anxiety as a signal. It's not broken. Your subconscious is being signaled to go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So there are 4 different levels of, I guess, how we might react to a potential threat or perceived threat. And so stress or anxiety is often our alarm system, but quite often it's wanting to protect you, but maybe it's just mind-made, or it's an illusion that something's going to happen. So our brain can be falsely advertising a worry, and our ancient body starts to react to it as if it's true. So this is where our imagination, when we're getting into channel negative, that can really play a big part in building those anxiety signals into your central nervous system. And if we get into the habit of focusing on what we don't want, that can be a problem. And then, of course, we go into the cycle of worry. To think about the subconscious as being the protector, it is always out there scanning for danger or potential danger, but we need to reset it sometimes. Often it's kind of too trigger happy, if you like. So it's seeing threat in absolutely everything, and that's disproportionate to actually what's really going on here. So the power of the present moment. Quite often we need to pull ourselves out of going into the past and worrying about what hasn't even happened yet, to bring ourselves back into the present moment. Introducing that idea to many of my clients can be really, really important. First of all, I ask them, is it fact or fiction? Especially if they're too fixated and they don't want to let it go. Quite often there is a fiction component, like, yeah, it is my mind just overreacting. So if so, let's get back into the now. Grounding technique. So you can actually count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to help yourself just come back into your mind and exit from the story. And then we can actually look at other things around us in this moment now and think, what are 5 colours or objects that I can see right now that are maybe made of wood or made of plastic or whatever it is. Or it might be, what are 4 things that I can hear right now? It might be the birds outside or the traffic moving past, or it could be my breathing. It could be people talking. A lot of times, if we're looking at creating a number and then looking out for those things for that amount of numbers, that can be useful for some people. It just gets them into a positive task of being in the now. It's not for everyone, though. So it's not about just doing one thing and hoping that it's going to work. Quite often we need to build a toolkit of different things that in different moments might work better. There's a little wee meditation exercise that I came up with a very long time ago, and it's tracing your fingers. So as you inhale and go up the thumb, exhale going down, and you slow it right down. So the exhale is going to be lower, slower, and inhale up might be quicker, and exhale down. And we keep on tracing the fingers. We can do it with the opposite hand and then go back again. And that just helps us to use the sensory experience of the touch and also coming into our breath work. So it helps us to regulate our breath more mindfully, and we're in the moment now. So I find this kinesthetic meditation extremely helpful for people who have a racing mind, that are kind of going off into tangents. That's just their imagination doing overtime. So when we're looking at this, it's also self-soothing, because it's like we're stroking ourselves, and it becomes very, very calming, and it will activate the brain to go into more delta waves, a more sort of daydreamy kind of nice state, and it can process trauma as well. So when we're looking at that action, just movement, we can do it as slowly or as quickly as we might want to. So that can be a really good exercise. So give it a go. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it. When we're looking at deep breathing and belly breathing, having the exhalation longer than the inhalation can be very useful to reset the autonomic nervous system. So what happens is when we sigh, like when we really sigh, it helps to reset our central nervous system to go into that calm space again, instead of being uptight and overreactive. So when we sigh and we go breathing in, then sighing it out, nice long one. It's engaging the diaphragmatic muscles a certain way that send a signal into your limbic system that it's safe to relax. So the sigh in that deep belly breathing is a really important part of it. And I do invite people to actually release it through their mouth rather than just doing nostril breathing. So we can breathe in through the nostrils and then out through the mouth. So breathing in and out. Now, I invite my clients to practice breathing out way slower. And if they're having a problem with that at first, it can be useful to engage a hum. So we can hum it out, and that means we're going to slow down the release of that breath, and that will help to naturally calm someone as well. So we can breathe in, then hum it out. Right? So taking deep, gentle breaths can be really useful. There are many breath techniques. So in for 5, hold for 3, out for 4, or in for 5, hold for 3, out for 7. So we start to get slower on the exhalation each time. We can build that up. We can do equal breathing or box breathing. So everything is the same. So we breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold for 4. So it's like a big box. But I think of all of the different breathing techniques that I've taught my clients, the sigh, doing that sigh is really, really incredible. So breathing in and then just sighing it out. Now, there are some clinical ideas around breathing in twice in a row and then slowly sighing it out. So that can be also equally effective. So breathing in, and then slowly out. What that does is it helps to inhale correctly. So you're fully breathing in, and it will then send a signal to fully release. Because a lot of people are shallow breathing, and especially if we're getting really anxious, we start to shallow breathe a lot. We're sort of doing short breaths in and out as we start to panic, right? So we want to actually slow it right down and get in control of the breath. I want to also talk about the 3 Ds for managing anxious thinking. So detach is naming that thought but not fusing with it. So when we're looking at that idea that you might notice the worry, but and you might mess it up, this is just a thought. It's not a thing. So this is where I'm coming into fact or fiction. Sometimes people can bond with the thought as if it's true, but it's just a thought. So I'm noticing, I'm worrying about what's going to happen when I'm doing the conference and whether all the speakers will be able to turn up and it's going to go well. Now, there's no point in me worrying about that. The conference is in November. So I'm getting caught up in these thoughts that may just be a waste of time. Now, it might also be useful because I could think, okay, well, how about I have some backup ideas? So if I think that might be a thing, what would I do that might make that easier and manage that better? So it could be an actual useful stress thought, if you like, but to fixate on it is not useful. So once you've processed what you would do that might remedy that, let it go. It's important. So you're noticing that you're worrying again, right? So you think, yeah, I'm worrying again about that. Stop. It's all right. It's just a thought. Now, then we can determine choosing what you want to feel instead. So I'm determined to feel organized and ready for that. So I can turn that language around. I can absolutely determine the kind of emotion I want going forward from here. So I'm going to feel grounded about this experience. I'm going to feel calm and clear, and everything's in action, and it will be okay on the day. So it's really reinforcing the determination of what you want to feel instead of the initial response. So as we detach from it, we can then determine how we're going to feel instead. So it's a reframe, okay? Then we can shift the direction of the thought. So that's the direction. So shifting focus to a helpful action. So what's one small thing that I can do right now? And that could be, if it was a worry about something that you do need to plan for, that could be go, oh yeah, I'm going to then action that. I'm going to ring Sally, or I'm going to write down a contingency plan. So I've got that in place. So it could be, yeah, and then it's off my to-do list and I don't have to think about it again unless I need it, right? So there can be some really practical things. So we're just going to go over those again. Detach. So name the thought, but don't fuse to it. I'm not going to worry that I mess this up. So that could be an example. So determination. So choose how you want to feel instead. And that could be, I'm determined to feel grounded and capable. So that's an example. Direction. So shifting focus to a helpful action. So what's one small thing that I can do now? And then you go and do it. That is a really nice strategy to just kind of get some coherence around how you're going to deal with things that do pop up. And even if it's often and frequently that those negative thoughts or worries pop up, that's as much as you practice. So you're wanting to really get into the practice of shrinking them back into perspective so you can deal with them one little thought at a time. Creating a space that is an internal safe place can be quite nice. So I thought we might guide you through a bit of a relaxation exercise that creates a safe space in your mind that you go to. So just take a moment. If you're driving or doing anything that needs your full attention, maybe this part of the session today is maybe not something you do right now. Perhaps you come back to the video or fast forward. I'm only going to take a couple of minutes, so it won't be for very long. So if you are able to sit down and find yourself in a nice quiet place, I invite you to place your palms to the sky on your legs if you can, and take a nice inward breath. And as we exhale, sighing it out. And do that 3 times, breathing in through the nostrils On the exhalation, sighing it out. And once you've done that 3 times, just closing your eyes or finding a soft focus in front of you. And I invite you to think about a calm space where you would like to be, where it calms your body in some way. And just to give you some ideas, it could be maybe sitting in the bath, or it could be sitting in front of a fireplace, watching the flames. It could be just cozy in your bed. Or maybe it's in a forest somewhere, or the top of a mountain, looking out, and it's just snowed. It's really calm. So whatever your imagination does, just think about a place that would be calming for you, and imagine yourself there right now. I invite you to engage in your senses. So what does that look like, sound like, feel like for you? What are you doing in that calm space that is calming and supportive? Are you touching things? Are things touching you that make you feel calm? Are there sounds that bring a sense of calmness, or is maybe there no sound at all? Just notice. Maybe there's a smell that's calming. Maybe it's even a taste that's calming. And notice just how going into a calm space, imagining that space around you as if you were there right now, how that makes you feel. And let's create a positive anchor that can bring you back to that feeling when you want to. And I'd like you to imagine yourself feeling so peaceful, so calm. And once that feeling's really, really strong, I'd like you to touch your thumb and forefinger together, like it's sort of forming a circle. Take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Do that 3 times. Breathing in through your nostrils, out through your mouth. And then once you've done that 3 times, releasing that anchor, releasing your thumb and forefinger, and opening your eyes, coming back into the space. I hope you enjoyed that. So when we're looking at that exercise, now what happens is you've got a trigger, an anchor that can trigger that same emotion. So now we imagine ourselves in the future in a situation that in the past may have felt anxious. We might have felt stressed about it. And then we imagine activating our thumb and forefinger, and suddenly reminding ourselves of that wonderful feeling of that calm space, and that we could be calm and bring that calm energy to that situation that in the past might have felt like an anxious moment. And imagine seeing yourself, feeling yourself, journeying through that situation in a much calmer state. Now, when we're doing that dress rehearsal of success, it's very powerful because we're training the brain. We're training that part of our brain to say, hey, when we're in that situation, this is how we want to feel now. And we've now got a physical anchor we can use, as well as a mind space that we can go to, and we can imagine then success, the doing script, how we want to be. And that helps us. So as a hypnotherapist, I'm doing this kind of work with my clients all the time. So I invite you to play around with that and see how that is for you. And again, in the comments, tell me how it goes. I'd love to hear. So the role of self-talk is a very big part of dealing with anxiety efficiently and effectively. And so what you say to yourself really matters more than you realize. I encourage you to think about phrases like "this will pass," or "the worst has passed." "I am safe in this moment." "I have done hard things before and I can do this." So it's like, how do you do your own inner best friend? How do you fire up that inner positivity on the inside? What words of encouragement would you give a friend of yours if they were in a tricky situation? What words would come out that might help to ease that for them? So use those words to yourself. Really think about, what are the phrases that I want to create that's going to help me in my daily life? Often too, building a daily anxiety reducing ritual can be helpful too. So our brain likes habit, okay? So there are some things like journaling. Now, just journaling and putting down any old thoughts is not quite how I guide my clients through it. I quite often say, look, you can do a bit of a verbal explosion and say, this is how I've been feeling today, and this is what happened, and rah, 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 rah. Then after you've done that, I want you to step out of it and ask a really important question. So what can I learn from that that's going to make me stronger and wiser as I move forward? So what can I learn from that today that's going to make me stronger and wiser as I move forward? It's a great reframe. And then write that wisdom in another area of the journal. So when we're feeling like we need a bit of a lift, we can go to that positive area of wisdom and understanding, and we can read that, and it can kind of bolster you. Okay? So I invite you to give that a go. It's nice to leave on a high note. It's good to look at things as opportunities of learning rather than just terrible, like, oh, that was an awful day, and leave it on that note. Breath work, like we were doing before, I invite you to practice that often and frequently, and it could be before every meal. It could be on the hour, every hour. If you're really in an anxiety situation, that could be something that you do. A short self-hypnosis or meditation like we were doing before, and maybe that movement exercise of just tracing the fingers. It could be walking, it could be yoga, it could be dancing it out. So think, what is going to be your anxiety reducing ritual that you could do daily, and build that into your life? I really invite you to think about those things. So many people are living with anxiety and pushing through silently, but the truth is that gently and gradually and sustainably you can break away from that. You don't have to be white-knuckled all throughout your life. So, if today resonated with you, please, I invite you to explore more of my talk time episodes. I talk about all sorts of things to do with hypnosis. If you're interested in becoming a hypnotherapist, I teach people. I've got a full diploma course. You can check that out on the website nzach.ac.nz. Love to have you on board. I am open to questions. So if there is any questions you might have about what we've covered today, or any issues you're currently facing that you would like me to talk about, I'm happy to unpack my knowledge here. So thank you again for those that lasted to the end of the journey with us today. If you want to know more, get in touch. I just love guiding people and helping people through their journey of overcoming things that have been holding them back. Please share this episode with someone you care about if you think that might be helpful too. Passing it on can be really nice, and liking the things for the algorithms also helps me to push this out into a bigger audience. So I'd really appreciate that. And if you are a subscriber, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed, maybe if this is your cup of tea, come along with me weekly. I'm here, and we launch a new talk time every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. New Zealand time. So until we meet again, I hope you have a wonderful journey putting into play all of these little ideas, and please let me know how that goes. Thank you. Bye for now.